everybody, and welcome. That was a loud well right there.
I heard echoes.
Welcome to the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right. Show number 122. One Rupert Jones. Someone just drove off the road right there. If you remember Rupert Jones, we are here live from downtown Mawa in the brand new, spanking new dining room, ex-dining room studios of Jimmy Palumbo Show, coming to you along with Dave Sturchio from downtown Matawan with the Chop Sports Studios and Media Empire here at Shea. Now, we also have a new format, if you notice, around the screen here. Those of you watching live, if you're just listening to the podcast, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But Dave put together a little, I don't know, kind of a Michael K. Show-esque little thing, so we have a little more graphics going on. The Jimmy Palumbo Show is constantly evolving. Dave, how you doing today?
That's a loaded question today, boy. We were supposed to do the show yesterday, and when you have kids, and you know this best, when some bug goes around the house, guess what? It's gonna get you. It's gonna get you, and it got me. It didn't get me as violently as I thought, and you know what? I should probably knock on wood because maybe it's not over yet.
Ain't over yet. There's always round two. Here we go.
That's right. I survived round one. I'm like, don't throw in the towel. It'll be fine. I'll be good. And here I am. I'm fine now, or at least I think I am. But today, a little rough, man. We almost
Dave's cup has runneth over with love here from the.
I almost had to pull the audible here today and tell you to go at it yourself and have this overlay done by yourself and just have like a picture of me like in my spot.
Actually, we should try to do that one day. That'd be hysterical.
On the phone.
On the phone.
It's just like one graphic.
Well, Dave had a situation. He has a beautiful cat.
Yeah.
And getting some work done in the house. Apparently, the cat we thought left town.
Yeah, that was. I think the biggest thing for me was what am I going to tell my daughter? Like that was just like, oh boy, brutal. You know, I haven't had to do it yet. I know that conversation's coming when things like this happen. But like there have been a couple instances for that, but she was younger. So it was just like, hey, everything's gonna be all right. Don't worry about it. She forgot about it the next day. You know what I mean? It's all good. This one would have hit home. So this one, it was a couple hours of panic, and little guy came running out of the bottom of the stairs or underneath the stairs. I don't know how he found a place to go there, but he did. He's a cat.
He was pissed off at the workers in the house.
He
was like, hey, I want peace and quiet during the day.
I know.
Who are these assholes?
Yep.
And he got panicked. Listen, my goldfish died. I bought a goldfish when I got into his apartment a couple years ago. And the thing, I was like, just last like 6 months. I need 6 months out of this guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, I felt like I was a pitching coach saying, I just need 5 innings out of you and I'll win this series. And all of a sudden, in the second inning, a walk, an error, a 3-run ding dong. The fish died. The fish died on me. I had to bury it outside with Natalie. We had a ceremony. I had to put a rock on top of it.
Outside? Don't the fish usually go down the toilet?
Listen, Natalie wanted a full burial, so she got it.
Wow.
And prayers were said here, right?
Wow.
But the worst part is I'm just laughing at my Bing Crosby shirt here. More on that in a minute. The name of 58-year-old guys wearing a Bing Crosby golf shirt. But then I got another fish, another beta fish, this pink thing. My daughter, for some reason, does not pick out good-looking fish. Okay, that doesn't happen with her dating life. This fish refuses to die. There's been moves. There's been cleaning things going on. This fish is like, you know what? I'm trying to think of the picture. Who's that picture for the Yankees? He got the no-hitter, but he didn't win the game. Who's that guy? You remember?
No-hitter didn't win the game?
Yeah, with 8.
You sure it wasn't a Met?
No, they changed the rules on it. Oh, my brother's going to be so mad. Anyway, this fish just gives you innings. The workhorse. He says, Coach, every 4 days, give me the ball. I'll go 7 2/3. This fish won't die. Fish name is Sullivan. And when it dies,
great name.
That'll be the last Palumbo fish. This is the final. I feel like I'm on the final tour here. And that'll be so. I know that. Listen, I know explaining your kids when pets die. Plus, when pets die, it sucks. When dog dies, cat, it all sucks. But that brings us here with Dave shitting himself, trying to find his cat,
trying to share out your show.
The theory on that show, and I know shout out to Will Pena getting involved from Dying Breed Garage here at Shea and my buddy Sheha. This is show number 122. And as you know, top of the baseball card. Now, the last two have been kind of my fan favorites. This one might be, I love shitty, flawed players like Stanton and so on. Cecil Fielder of the Yankees was great. Okay. This card is from 96. The Boo Boo. Ruben Sierra, by far one of my favorite Yankees, because all I know is when you watch Yes highlights, and listen to all you naysayers out there, when you watch highlights of the Yankees on Yes from 96 to 2005, every playoff game, Ruben Sierra gets a huge 2-run double or a 3-run home run. I'm telling you, it's like, matter of fact, it seemed like I'm willing to bet, like, I think Jeter got 3 hits in the postseason as compared to Ruben Sierra. It seemed like Ruben Sierra had he had huge hits, especially on those, like, when they put the whole game on Yes, sometimes you're like, well, Ruben Sierra coming in about 260, getting a huge double down the line. So my daughter's sending me a text right now. I don't know what's going on. But that's what happens. Dad's job is always there. But anyway, so Ruben Sierra, now, first of all, he played from 86 to 2006. I have his 96 card here. Lifetime batting average 268, 306 home runs, over 2,000 hits, 1,300 RBIs. He played with, and are you ready? Texas, Oakland, the Yankees, Detroit, Cincinnati, Toronto, the White Sox, Texas, Seattle, Texas, and back to New York, and then Minnesota for about a cup of coffee. At the end, his mom got sick, and he really just kind of bailed, which rightfully so. You got to do what you got to do. He played with 9 different teams, 340 batting average in the ALCS. Arguably one of the best ALCS players of all time, Ruben Sierra. Now, I find this, you may not find this funny, but this is the guys he was traded for. You ready for this? He was traded for Jose Canseco. He was traded for Danny Tartavel. He was traded for Cecil Fielder. And he was traded for Marcus Thames. Now, the funny thing is, he was traded for the same kind of player. Like Thames
actually became the Yankees batting coach.
Right, they get the batting coach. But in 89, though, I did not know this. He played 162 games. He still looked like a guy who plays every day. He hit 29 home runs, batted 306. 119 RBIs. That's a Judge year, for Christ's sake. And in 91, he played 161 games, 25 home runs, 116 RBIs. We're talking $30 million a year numbers right there. Mind-boggling. He was but my favorite Ruben Sierra story. Well, 2. Game 4 against the Twins, 2004, he had a 3-run home run in the 5th inning. Changed that series, no doubt about that. But one of my favorite things, I went to a game with one of my dear agents, Neil, at Abrams, and he got tickets. He goes, Jimmy, these are second row behind the dugout. And we were literally, the on-deck circle was about 8 feet from my face. So the game, we're there, beautiful day. I'm drinking beers. I'm with him and his wife. Sierra's in the starting lineup, right? And every time I get up, I called him the Boo Boo. Ruben the Boo Boo. That's my nickname. I came up with it. And he could totally hear me, as could Jeter, and like Matsui's the largest human being known to man. He's like 6 times the size of Ohtani. He's a monster, this guy, right? So I laughed that the players can totally hear you when you're only 8 feet away and you yell out, "You suck."
100%.
When they say, "Oh, we don't pay attention to the fans," yes, you do. If you're in Target shopping to buy a hat, and all of a sudden someone just comes behind you 8 feet and says, "Hey, Sturchio, you suck," you're gonna act like, "No, I don't."
Happens all the time, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
So with that, the game is 0-0. I think it was against the Blue Jays. I'm not 100% sure though. The game was 0-0, and I kept, every time Sierra got up, I would stand up and face the crowd and say, "The Boo Boo will deliver us. The Boo Boo will deliver us." Right? It gets to the 9th inning. Yeah, a couple of me. It gets to the 9th inning, and I think Jeter and A-Rod were up before him. Okay? Jeter hits a ground ball. A-Rod strikes out on 3 pitches, right? Sierra gets up with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning, and I'm the whole game. I am saying, "The Boo Boo will deliver us," right? First pitch, he hits the ball 475 feet, dead center field, right? I stand up. I had the crowd. I wish I could get that game on Yes Network. The crowd behind home plate was cheering me, not Ruben Sierra. The guy was like, wait, it.
You got it. What game was this?
It was probably 90, early 90s, 2000, maybe somewhere. I don't even know. I will find out when that game was.
I'll look for the game. I would love nothing more than to find you just in the background, just like schmucking about.
I'm probably visible. I'm visible.
That's what I'm saying. It's behind home plate. Yeah.
And I just, and the crowd was like, guys were yelling, "He called it. He called it." You know what I mean?
It's bound to happen.
That's also now, of course, he is He's a salsa king now. He does salsa music in Puerto Rico, and
of course
he has way more views than you and I do on Instagram. He's like huge. I'm trying to get him. I got to post this to his Instagram, see if he puts it on. But the biggest thing I've learned about him was that early in his career, he was one of the biggest prospects like ever, like almost Strawberry-esque. He was supposedly like a clear, very early first round pick. He was out. He played the field. He did everything well. But all indications are that he was a huge jerk off in the clubhouse. Joe Torre called him the most toughest player he's ever had to coach. Joe Torre, he just sits there and does nothing.
Really?
Another great show. Tony La Russa hated him. Like all these big time managers couldn't stand him, and the Yankees traded him after the first time because they just couldn't stand him in the dugout anymore.
Right.
When he ran into trouble with the other teams, he got re-signed by the Yankees. He walked right up to Joe Torre and said, "Joe Torre, I am so sorry. I'm older now. I was a complete asshole."
That's good.
Yeah. And then after that, Joe Torre says he was one of the best players to coach because I put him at DH, I put him in the field, I had him at first base, and all he did is bat 340 in the ALCS. That's why we love him. So listen, I'm a big fan of Ruben Sierra and Cecil Fielder and Giancarlo Stanton. But of course, Stanton stinks. We'll get to more of that later.
Oh, God.
But that's it. So now, who do you have?
I got to get off the baseball path here because I have to. Because it's just enough is enough. I can't do the Yankees or anybody like that anymore.
I can't believe you're wearing a Yankee hat this morning.
Me too. But you know what? I was tired of getting into slack for. This is T.J. Watt, and the reason why I bring up T.J. Watt,
well, he's pretty popular,
is because he's very popular, and his storied career. The reason why. What?
I didn't mean to downgrade that. TJ Watt. That's like saying,
TJ Watt won Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah,
of course.
The reason why I bring that up is because training camp is starting next week for the NFL, so I'm excited about that. Of course, our best guard is now holding out. Your defensive, I think it was a linebacker or safety, tore his ACL yesterday in mini camp, so just like or OTA or whatever the frick they're calling it. But it's just crazy. The reason why I bring up TJ Watt is because I'll never forgive the Dallas Cowboys for drafting one Taco Charlton. Right before TJ Watt. So those are the ones that you don't understand. Me and Chris,
the Cowboy brass was looking at tape. They said, "Hey, Taco Bell guy was much better than
we could definitely brand this better. Like let's not get the bull rusher. Let's get this guy because he might sell some T-shirts. Now the reason why me and Chris have these lengthy conversations of like bad draft blunders by our teams. Not even just like bad draft picks, but guys that we left on the board past us. I remember the Cowboys in '98 drafted one David LaFleur, tight end, because Troy Aikman loved him coming out of college. But they might have left a guy on the table. His name, your friend and mine, Randy Moss. So they didn't draft Randy Moss. So
how about your best defensive player right now? Giants could have took him.
Yep, absolutely. You could have had LT Jace on your team, but I mean, look, that was a blessing because now he's one of the best defensive players.
I wish there were, you know what? I think a better book would be on stuff like this. Shitty draft. That's the name of the book should be called Shitty Draft Picks. I want to hear from the scouts. In other words, we could sit here all day and say, oh my God, you took so-and-so over Micah Parsons. But I want to hear scouts go, well, hang on. Like at the time, because these scouts, by the way, there's not just one scout. These organizations have 200 scouts all over. And I remember the book on Micah Parsons. He left school early, Penn State. It was at my cousin John, big Penn State fan.
He didn't play in the COVID year.
Yeah, and also my cousin John would say, yeah, he made a lot of tackles after the guy got 7 yards. That was the
Cowboys' MO for a little while.
Right. Yeah, so I would love to hear the real, hey, let me tell you why. You know what I mean? Why we went that direction? Because otherwise it's just you fucked up. You hit on 16, you didn't get a 5. Right. But I want to hear no, with the Sam Bowie Jordan thing. I read one time that he was a major prospect. Nobody had, you can't, Tom Brady in the 6th round. I don't know if you heard the story about that old man coach, scout for the Giants. Wellington Mara had one of those cigar chomping Jersey guys who's been scouting since 1905. And he would, for some reason, his family was in Michigan or something. And he would go around and he would send notes to the Giants on players he would scout in high school, like 9th grade football. That was old school. So he kept on saying, hey, this guy Tom Brady over Michigan. And they were like, who? He started again. He's big. He's strong. He's got a nice arm. Blah blah. He kept on. So he had a whole file on him, but it wasn't like saying he's a no doubter. It's like if we can get this guy late, this is somebody you may want to take. Yeah. Supposedly he was in the draft room, and once it got past, let's face it, after the third round of the NFL draft, it's like okay, they say it's like maybe fourth round.
Dak Prescott's a fourth round pick.
Yeah, okay, well, fourth round, okay. All right. Say a fourth round for argument's sake.
Let's talk about the fact that like day 3, like when the coverage stops and it's just like the ticker on the bottom, nobody actually cares about who's getting.
There you go, exactly right.
There you go.
And he was supposedly in the room, and like the 5th round, he was like, "Hey, you know what? Doesn't seem like we have a consensus here. Let's Tom Brady, and they just ignored him. Cut to 20 years later, I'm reading the paper. He kept all his notes and he wrote like mentioned it again, and just didn't take it.
God.
But I would love to hear what the scouts and GM say, not to defend themselves. You can't defend taking a Randy Moss over Taco Bell guy, whatever you're talking about. But you still have to. You have to say, let me tell you what, like Sam Bowie over Jordan, there was reasons why nobody, that kind of thing. Anyway, all right, well, TJ Watt, non-Cowboy draft pick, thank God. That to me was a great draft by the Cowboys. Otherwise, he would have wreaked havoc in the middle.
Hey, Taco Troutman got himself a ring, I think, last year. I believe he was a member of the Chiefs at the end of the season. So
did he doesn't still play in those Dallas Cowboy basketball games, does he?
No, right.
Joe Camino. TJ Charles for threes. Got it. We're tired of it.
You know what's so funny? Bringing up old time players. You never know who you're talking to on social media. You really don't know. There's so many imposters out there. So many people are just so weird. Like, think about how weird that has to be to, make up the fact that you're somebody else. It's just not weird mentally. But anyway, I texted Joe Covino the other day and I said, hey, by any chance, does Tony Dorsett actually interact with fans on Instagram? And he goes, I think his wife runs his account, but I don't know if he's interacting.
Some guys are.
I have a Tony Dorsett. I took a picture of my whole shelf and I tagged Tony Dorsett because I have an autographed helmet of his. And 3 days later, when the story's gone on Instagram, 24 hours, the story goes away. Right. And he's like, hey. And I'm like, Tony? I was like, Tony? Wait, hold on. And I was like, Tony Dorsett? I was like, hi. And he's like, appreciate the tag on the helmet. And I was like, oh man. And my fanboy took over. Like, this has got to be him. It's definitely him. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I'm a big fan. My dad's been a big fan for blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, true fans like you are the definite. He was talking to me like he was Captain America or some shit. And I was like, okay. And then he goes, ready? And then I let it go and I talked to Joe. And Joe was telling me this might not be him. And I was like, okay.
What? I say you just make it him anyway.
But then the next thing, I left the conversation, and then an hour later, I got a how you doing? I'm like, that's not fucking Tony Dorsett. There's no way. Well, there's no way. Tony Dorsett's asking Chop Sports Sturch how he's doing on a Wednesday. Not happening.
Well, I will tell you that as a Giant fan, long-time Giant fan, my whole life. Back in the day, one of my favorite players, not when he was playing, I loved Tony Dorsett. I also was a big Staubach fan, even though I just didn't want to.
That's Captain America.
Right. But Tony Dorsett, I remember my cousin John, if he's listening, is driving off the road right now. We were in the upper deck of Giant Stadium, okay? So you could see the whole field. Everybody said, oh, you could. We could tell when a wide receiver was covered the whole way down or something, blah, blah, blah. Like when Drew Pearson was open on every play, you realize, oh, thank God they ran because Drew Pearson had 17 yards on some shitty defensive back. But there was a couple of plays where, especially, I guess, when in Dorsett's prime, we would blitz and have Staubach, or early, who's after Staubach? Wasn't Aikman? It was
Danny White?
Maybe Randy White. And
no, Danny White.
Danny White. And we would have the quarterback, but all of a sudden you realize that it was a screen from the upper deck. And all we saw, now again, I was 16 years old, from the upper deck, all I saw was 4 Dallas Cowboy linemen shifting to the right. Danny White
flipping wall in front of him,
flipping the ball over, and it lands in number 33's hands. And all you were like, oh my God. Oh my God. He would just, and somehow Harry Carson, who was a great player, would somehow Dorsett would get 26 yards and Harry Carson would touch his ankle and get him out of bounds. But it was like, this guy, I think Dorsett is an underrated running back, not talked about enough. So I'm a fan.
I used to have lunch with Harry Carson every Wednesday. Him and Bob Papa when I interned for the Giants. They would just chill with us. Bob Papa. Yeah, they would just hang out with us.
All right. So listen, bottom line is TJ Watt and Ruben Sierra. That was a long opening here on a short show we're going to do.
Yeah.
I know people are like, why do you talk too much about sports? Well, because I think this is funny. I think people need to know about Tony Dorsett. All right. Well, listen, we got big news coming out of the Patreon.com. That's right. Well, first, listen, I've been saying for weeks, there is just no reason we cannot sign Patrick Ewing, number 33 on Jimmy Palumbo's Patreon. And out of nowhere, a family member, a relatively close family member.
Family do you have?
My cousin Joanne Palumbo out of Long Island, now based in New York City, a lawyer. I think her firm represents like Yoko Ono or something, some connection to the Beatles.
New York City lawyer, so she better be top tier.
I have no problem with her tier. I'll leave it at that here at Shay. But she calls me up and says, Jimmy, I'm like 4 shows behind. Like she listens to the show and I guess she heard me say 33. We need a Patrick Ewing. Of course, she said, I don't know who Patrick Ewing is, but I still. So I got my cousin Joanne. Nice. Thank you so much. I had to give her a shout out. And of course, I'm not going to be rattling off the names because that'll make the show even longer than it should be. But I'm just going to give a shout out to Tyson Hogan, the one nobody knows here, Shay. And also, I got to give a shout out to Daryl Clark, who's constantly busting my balls. And eventually, as soon as Sam Grasso's kids are out of college, I know he'll be my biggest supporter.
Sam just said there's bigger news. There's someone else besides me watching the show.
And Sam Grasso with an uppercut. Palumbo is shaking. We're not sure if he's getting in the round ends. We're not sure if he's going to come out for the 4th round.
God. That's
great.
Good job,
stuff.
Sam.
Great stuff. First of all, there's 7 people listening. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Sam, look at the wrists on Ronnie Gant right there. Anyway, and a shout out to my boy Brian Shevlin. I'll be seeing him down the shore soon enough. All right. Well, which brings us to Sam Grasso's got me rattled. Right now, my trainer. I would love.
Everybody.
I wish we were mic'd up in the corner. What my corner man's telling me right now that we don't need this fight. We don't need this fight. Hang in there. He has got nothing but that. He's got nothing but that. And you gotta
call it. You gotta call it. Just call it.
No. I'll go back in. Give me back in there. First of all, you make it Sam Grasso. By the way, for people listening on audio, I get this little chat thing on the video. And Sam first said Tony Dorsett was good, and then he uppercuts me. So what happened was I got lulled to sleep, and then he whacked another
You let your guard down. You let your guard down.
I got beat. Oh my God! By Tom Laidlaw. I got that. That's another shitty cowboy, right? Was Laidlaw? Was that his name? Am I getting that
Laidlaw?
Right?
I don't even remember that name. I mean, that's got to be deep on the roster.
You know what sucks about my show besides the content? What sucks about my show is my brother. Okay, my older brother, 5 years older than me. He's always 11 episodes behind. Okay. So what happened is he'll be on a trip, a work trip or something, and I'll get a phone call from him, and it'll be like, it wasn't Tom Laidlaw, it's Joe Like, I'm like, what? What did I say? Tom? Like, do you think I've already forgotten that I said Laidlaw on the show? So someone's probably Googling at home. But my brother comes in with these, the Giants didn't make the playoffs that year. It was the next year. Like, okay, Frank, 30 years ago, I missed what year the playoffs in. I'm going to hear something about Ruben Sierra. Anyway, which brings us to your friend and mine, Absolute Eyewear, getting involved here from the Omni, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326. Eyes. Pretty good cue right there. Craig and Jaybird, Janine Michaud, family-owned, brother and sister. We all know Craig played on my softball team, and Janine's just a cool chick, and they're both licensed opticians. And they do everything. Full service, prescription eyewear, sunglasses, you name it, they got it. Glasses for the kids here at Shea. Contacts, eye exams. They do have their air conditioning back. Now, between you shitting yourself this week and going to Absolute Eyewear 2 weeks ago, you are like,
can I also tell you?
Are you down a weight class?
I'm svelte. I'm feeling svelte right now. Can I also tell you their expertise in breaking and entering too? Yesterday, so Janine hit me up 2 days ago asking me about my availability at the studio yesterday, and I said, yeah. I was like, if we're recording a show, it's probably between 11 and 11:30. So just like whatever, because Craig was supposed to drop off my glasses, the new glasses that they just replaced the lenses or whatever, because apparently my old prescription is better than my new one. But so the funny part is I'm editing in here, so there's no show actually happening. And I'm editing, and I hear somebody walk in the front, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Chris." You know, I'll see him when he walks in. There's like steps, little crickets noise. I go now at this time. It's like 45 seconds later. I'm like, all right, well, he hasn't even said what's up yet, so let me go out and say what's up. There's nobody in the building, and I was like, there was definitely somebody here. Like
the
what
ghosts of Chop Sports.
I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm opening doors slowly. I'm like, Chris, you know, nobody. And then all of a sudden, Chris does get there. I'm talking to him for a little while, and he's sitting at his desk. He's like, "Are these your glasses?" I was like, holy shit. I was like, Craig dropped off the glasses. He thought I was recording a show and didn't say hello. He just dropped them off like a ninja in the night and took off. But look at that. Not for nothing. Customer service at its best. He's dropping off glasses.
Now, I know, Chris, Craig lives over the bridge somewhere, not too far from you, but still.
I think he's in Mattawan.
Listen, Absolute Eyewear does. That's the kind of thing they do. They get involved. They will do. They're not going to hand deliver everything. I live in Ramsey by the time I get my glasses. Matter of fact, just to let you know, I have like 6 pairs of glasses that are cracked, broken. The lenses are still good. I have to bring him down there and bust his chops and get everything done. But of course, Absolute Eyewear down by the train station in Woodbridge. They're great. Go check them out. And when you leave there, you don't feel like a jerk off. That's right. Of course, Dave felt like a jerk off, being a little bit of a pussy, walking around the studios, being scared shit that someone was going to come in and rob him and kill him as he looks at his phone. All right. Well, listen, bottom line, are you frozen?
No. I was answering a text.
Sometimes, listen, the Chris Gucci method is a style of podcasting where when you're on the show, you think it's a frozen picture. That's how they're not paying attention. They're looking at their phone.
It's actually not. I mean, for anybody listening, it's actually a pretty cool text to receive because of the context of it. And it's from, I was supposed to later on this afternoon, which kind of works out because I'll be a little bit more healthy tomorrow. Later on this afternoon, I was supposed to interview Sean McEwen. He is the tight end in the tight end room for the Dallas Cowboys. And they're doing, they're starting camp. He actually just texted me to reschedule to tomorrow, but the reasoning is, and it's cool because it's like kind of cool.
He's got the shits too.
He goes, "Hey brother, sorry to switch it up, but Dak just invited me to the Rangers game today." And I was like, when Dak invites, you go. I was like, enjoy yourself. See you tomorrow. But that's just kind of cool, man. Like he's just talking to Dak.
You're in the realm of that Cowboy stuff.
Yeah, man.
It's not like I have a show to do. Don't worry about it. No.
I got more important shit here. I mean, come on.
One thing about me, I hire reluctant co-hosts. Chris Gucci almost came off the disabled list to do the show today, but he did not because he could care less. But anyway, go check out Absolute.
Right, how much does he care? He just sent me a reel like on Instagram to watch. Like he knows I'm doing the show because he's in the other room. So
I know, he's right there.
He's like, "Hey, watch this. This is really funny."
We have to have. You know what? We're doing. You know what we got to do next? No, I'm just next week. I'm going to split the screen. We got to have Chris on for 5 minutes.
You want Chris on? All right, I got to make another fucking overlay, but I'll do it. I'll make it happen.
Well, we have to get the audience just wants to make sure he's okay.
Yeah,
he'll look like Derrick Rose in that one game last year when he tried to play after not playing for 40 games. Anyway, Absolute Eyewear. God bless. So I had a crazy now after our last show. By the way, my sister's in the apartment here, buzzing around cleaning while I'm doing the
right
podcast.
Now.
Yeah.
How's she?
Say hi, Mare. Say hi.
There she is, getting involved here.
And my sister, Mary Eileen McCarty, getting involved.
Sam, don't get me started.
She acts like she's just trying to get
Lysol, a new sponsor.
Lysol cleaning it. She wants to clean my computer screen. It looks like shit. But last week after the show, the next day, I went to the St. John Vianney Fair, getting involved here in Shea. Met some friends down there. It's so funny being at that fair, man. It's just like, it's been so long.
I actually had a friend who went and I was like, "Oh, Jimmy was there. Did you see him?" As if you're holding court in the center. Like, well, Jimmy's here, everybody.
What happened to me was, because I walked around, I don't even, usually you knew the old ladies working in the tents. I knew nobody. I went into the beer tent, $4 for a little cup of beer, by the way. But I didn't know anybody. I walked around just to reminisce. I got the shitty pizza that they have there. That's like part of the, And I hung in the beer tent. But then everybody looked 9 years old. I thought for a second I was in the babysitting area. I was like, "Oh, is this where they keep that? All the kids are here so the parents can go out and drink. Where's the beer, the other beer tent, the non, Everybody looks so young. But the people are coming up to me. hey, Jimmy, I think I was in your shore house once when I was 22. A beautiful girl comes up to me. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, yeah. You're friends with Tommy Plinio and Bobby Cristiano. I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, how old were you? She was 22. I'm like, oh, my God, I was like 37. I was a journeyman. I was like Ruben Sierra with Minnesota. And he was.
Give her the old boo-boo?
No, she's married, got 3 kids. I couldn't go 5. I couldn't go 5 1/3 with her. I look like the guy, they got old third base coach with saggy pants. But but it was great walking around. Then I started to see some people like, oh, that's the guy from Beer League, and it's funny. Oh, that's the guy. One guy says, you were on Something Borrowed. I love when someone comes up to me. I have like
Borrowed.
Like it's a movie. Like I love the random credits that people throw out. But it was fun. I had a good time. But then I decided, my daughter was dancing down in Atlantic City for nationals. I said, you know what? Rather than drive all the way back up to Bergen, let me just head down. I'll get a shitty hotel somewhere. I don't know what I was thinking. I had 2 or 3 beers in me, so I wasn't drunk at all. I go down. I get on Route 9. I'm the stupidest human being of all time. So I get on Route 9. I'm like, you know what? Let me just get like another half hour, 40 minutes south of Colonia. And then I'll wake up in the morning and I'm not that far from Atlantic City, right? I get on Route 9. Now, I'm going by old clubs I used to go to. I was like, to me, I was like, the background music was walking in the park and reminiscing, right? I remember that place. Oh, that used to
fantasies.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm going to, that used to be this. That used to be City Lights. I was driving down, right?
Those Black Betty's over there. That was
right. Here we go. Oh my God, so funny. And some of them, what is that now? Oh, it's a Home Depot. That used to be anyway. So I'm driving down, and then I was relaxed. All of a sudden, like, I'm driving and I get into parts of Route 9. Like, people don't realize before the Parkway, Route 9 was how you got down the shore. All of a sudden I'm in areas of Route 9. I'm like, okay, there's no clubs here. I've been on the road a very long time. So I'm driving. And all of a sudden I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Like, where did, like, I started to go into areas where there wasn't any Holiday Inns. Like, there wasn't any, like, a little, comfort suite stay here at the stadium. I wanted to drop like $90 or $100 to sleep for a couple hours, wake up in the morning. Next thing you know, I end up, I'm all the way down by like LBI.
Whoa.
Okay. That's how far down I went.
You made your way.
And now I'm like, okay, I'm tired now. I don't want to do this. I really sleep in my car. So all of a sudden I pull over just to Google like nearest hotel. It's like, oh yeah, Holiday Inn right on that road that leads you to LBI. It's only $475 to stay for the night. I'm like, what is going? So I go past LBI. Next thing you know, I'm like, okay. I felt like I was in the movie Deliverance right now. I was like a young Ned Beatty. I'm like, where am I headed to right now? I was looking at things. So I pulled into this one hotel and said, like, the Sweet Motel or something like that. I walk in, and dude, this place looked like this is where you die.
Horror movie.
This is the opening of a horror movie, Jimmy. And matter of fact, I see the description. right.
Chainsaw guy.
The description is a podcaster heads down the shore late at night. That's what it is. So I said, next thing you know, I'm driving. I ended up, now if anybody knows anything about Atlantic City, I ended up in Absecon, which is 15 minutes away from where my daughter was staying. But I
might as well just go right to AC.
It was too late. Well, I was like, I just wanted to wake up. I stayed at this Comfort Suites. They need to talk it over. They definitely need one of those. They definitely need a full timeout. Not this place needed. Like, this place was. They charged me $10 to park. I'm like, what are we at Disney World? There, I was in the building a total of 7.5 hours. I couldn't.
How much did it cost you to stay there?
I think it was $90. It was. And there's all those shitty hotels when you take
$100. You could have drove another 15 minutes right to Atlantic City.
Getting it, I know, but then hotels there, same thing.
Yeah,
they
it would
want
have been
$500. But anyway, I ended up down at Nationals, and my daughter did great. The King Center did great. I was going to spend a day on the beach with her. I was actually in the water. The water was warm. It'd be beautiful, the whole thing. Brigantine, which is north of Atlantic City, nice town, kind of like an LBI feel, families and stuff like that. But I got to tell you, I think I talked about this last year. Atlantic City is just, I don't understand Atlantic City. Actually, I have friends that are politically involved in Atlantic City, and I've had conversations with them, and I just feel like Atlantic City has been around since, like, I think some of the disciples and Jesus was there for, Moses didn't, when he parted the Red Sea, it almost went to Atlantic City. That's how long Atlantic City's been around.
Like Bally's was at the end of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, Atlantic City has the original lifeguards, the ACBP were the original lifeguards. Like they created the genre. Okay. And 1,000 years ago, rich people would go down there, like in the show Boardwalk Empire. But that was in 1935. And the Atlantic City is it's dirty, it's filthy, it's not safe. It's split into two areas. The marina, where you got the Borgata, the Golden Nugget, and Harrah's. And up at the beach there, the boardwalk, you got horrific hotels. And then you got the Ocean View, and maybe the Hard Rock Cafe goes like 9-7, makes the playoffs. And the Ocean View is 10-6. The Borgata goes 13-3. The Golden Nugget never makes the playoffs. They are the Jets of hotels there. And then you got Harrah's.
I've had some good time. I've had some good times at Harrah's.
Okay, you didn't go to that Golden Dome pool, did you?
I did. Of course I did.
Well, now, how long ago was that? Dave?
2013.
Okay,
10 years ago.
Okay. Were you married then?
I was not.
Okay, so you went down there to talk it over with the
talk it over. Yeah,
okay, right. Well, that'll do it here from the Omni. That place is first of all, it's like $190 to even enter that dome. Okay, and I guess it's great in January and February when you're freezing your balls off here. But the whole place just, again, anybody walking into the Harrah's, you just don't feel successful. You walk in there and you feel like, oh, I couldn't go to the Borgata this year. Right? The hotel room was it reeks of
comps didn't work.
Yeah, the comps. I should have gambled $40 a hand. It's just the whole thing. And by the way, they don't give comps anymore. You know what there's no can I get a shitty buffet if I gambled a little bit? It's just, and then it's for dancers, and the dancers are from 8 to 18. So you got like young girls walking around a casino. There's a night. I was like, Nat, you stay in the auditorium. You don't leave unless daddy's like, you're not allowed to be, there was like a side door and all the girls were going out the side door. No, the rooms aren't nice though. Troy Chabarro, come on. Come on, you're cheap. Yeah,
usually I don't remember the rooms.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, if you remember any room, the place stinks. But the whole place, when I went to the boardwalk is just, oh God, the boardwalk is just, the boardwalk should be called Josh Donaldson's boardwalk. It's just shot. It's over. The Ocean View's nice, but it's like $1,100 for the night. Anyway, but my daughter did great. I drove all the way down there like a jerk off on Route 9. So the funny thing is, I take Jimmy Palumbo, am I the only man? I take Route 9 to Atlantic City. Can you be a bigger jerk off? Oh,
you're the only one in the history of
people. And my Waze, I thought my Waze at one point, it kept on trying to get me on the Parkway, right?
Yeah.
I swear.
Turn left.
I think at one point the Waze just said, hey, go fuck yourself. Go get down there any way you want. I'm out. Like I'm signing off.
First of all, if you're using Waze to get to Atlantic City, that's another problem because this is
I was trying to look for hotels. I was like, what am I doing? The next
pop up. There's water. You run out of room.
Then you get on that Route 30, Route 30 East.
As soon as you see the big windmills cranking the energy.
I started seeing signs for Kate May and Shay. I'm like, what are we doing?
My father's there right now. Happy birthday, Dad. He's in Cape May right now.
It's like, to me, going to Cape May is like going to Georgia. That's how far away it is. If there's any traffic, one Memorial Day weekend, I went to Cape May. It took me 6.5 hours to get home. There is no, that's like a 3-game series where you got to play. Who do you play this week? Oh, we play at Pittsburgh, at Dallas. And you cannot win that. People say, no, I go to Cape May from Bergen County. I go down to Cape May. I'm like, do you fly there? How do you get there? Are you magically delicious? How do you get down to Cape May? It's far. You go. You know what happens?
It's like the tip of New Jersey. Yeah, it's the last.
Here's how you know you're fucked. When you pass Atlantic City, and all of a sudden you're like, "Well, I've been driving a while. Atlantic City's when you on those clear nights when you can't see the tall buildings anymore in Atlantic City, and you didn't get to Cape May yet." And then you get down there and there's like 3 houses that are Victorian painted pink and blue. And the rest is it's all Philly people, Eagle fans.
A bunch of Airbnbs down there. That's what they're doing.
Hey, you know what? The best, and Vegas knows this too. You take exit 98 and the points, you will cover all day. Where's Kyle when I need him? Exit 98, people. Exit 98.
Belmar getting involved.
Exit 98 is the Pittsburgh Steelers of short. You get off exit 98, you never stink.
You're there.
That's how
you're there.
You know what I mean? But anyway, which brings us to another big news here at Shea.
My ginger ale, just in case.
Cornhole. Now, cornholelevel.com. Very interesting development here. Of course, they're still a sponsor. If you go to cornholelevel.com, you will get, what the hell I do with it? I'll hold it up for the 8 people watching at home. That is the cornhole leveler right in the hole there, to and fro and up and down and all that stuff. Now, my church, St. Paul's in Ramsey, New Jersey, had a huge cornhole tournament. I couldn't make it. Why? Because I was on Route 9. And so what happened was I had like 6 samples, and the winners of the tournament all got a cornhole leveler sponsored by the Jimmy Palumbo Show with tickets. So Caprio listening, next year, we're actually going to sponsor the event. I told the guy, let me just let my cornhole guy sponsor it. And he'll put tables up and get these things away or sell them for $20, which is what it is. Cornholelevel.com, $19.95. And if you mention the JP Show, you get 20% off a huge order. Because I know a guy like Dave, when he's having a party with his wife and his newly found cat, he wants to have a level cornhole board.
I'm really glad I can laugh at that now, because when I tell you, Jimmy, it's been a long time since your boy wept. I was like I lost somebody near and dear. I mean, it's my Dez. I've known little Desi since 2016.
Your cat's name is Dez?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I was rooting. Now that you told me that, first of all, I was rooting for the contractors. Listen, if the contractors at Dave's house right now, please leave the screen door open.
His sister is Ellie from Elliot. Ezekiel Elliott. Ellie. So I got two former Cowboys on my team.
How old are these cats? As old as
I got Dez in 2016, so 7 years old. And then Ellie, maybe, I don't know.
What are you going to do with the Elliott one now that he's,
give him a raise?
What is my sister yelling out? My sister's cleaning and yelling out. I'm doing, what am I, Bill Burr, with, coming in with people in this thing? Anyway, cornholelevel.com. And
rooting for the contractors. I'm telling my wife that.
That's a great one. It's a great line. Might be the best line of the day right there. Well, you tell me your 2 cats are named. What if I told you my cats were named I don't know, LT and Daniel Jones?
I feel bad for the one because could barely play. But LT,
did you tell your kid you have to get? So every time the player gets cut, you get rid of the cat, right? Is that how it works?
I mean, that's usually how it works. But when Dez got cut, I was like, I don't even know. I remember actually going home the day that Dez got cut, like Bryant got cut from the Cowboys. I saw Dez the cat who walked up to me, and I was like, well, now what? It's like, now what are we supposed to do?
You got to change it. Was it Pollard? What's his first name? What's Pollard's name? Tony. You know what? Your official cat's name is Tony. We could change the name. Oh my God! Here at Shea. So that's cornholelevel.com. Go check it out.
Somehow.
Do I read the worst ad? I love the way I read ads, but sometimes
I think it all gels together. It's all good. The point is across. It is across.
Cornhole level. You will level your cornhole here, Shay.
Oh my God. Sounds like Saturday night down the shore.
A couple weeks ago, a friend of mine I was playing pickleball with brought his daughter down. She's like 24, lights out. Okay, gorgeous. Like the kind of gorgeous where because she's so young, I didn't really want to. I didn't want to play with. I didn't want to be near her. I wanted to say, listen, I'm so sorry. Did you read the note? You're too hot to play pickleball. It's just But her name was Shay. So
my new intern. My new intern's name is Shay.
Yeah. It's like, good evening, everybody. It's a beautiful day here at Shay. Mm-hmm. I tried to explain it to her. She doesn't know what Shea Stadium is.
Right over her head.
Looked over, right over it. But no one knows. Even I don't know what Shay means anymore. But I do know what the Omni means. So also here in my abode, got my sister cleaning up while I'm doing a podcast, which is always fun. I moved into this place, right? And I have different. Do you have water reverse osmosis stuff in your house?
What?
Okay. I got this place, and there's like water things under the sink that reverse osmosis, clean water, and all those. There's filters going on. There is a whole Willy Wonka chocolate factory going on under my sink. Okay, and finally I realized
the schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Then I got the soft water tank in the laundry room, and I'm like, I was like, you know what? I can't coach water. I have to bring in a coach to handle. So I bring in this guy, and I bought 5 pounds of salt pellets from Home Depot, 40 pounds, lugged them up the stairs. I'm on the 3rd floor here at condo here from the Omni. And all of a sudden I walk in, and I thought the guy was like, I thought he was going to like just show me what everything is, maybe change the filters, start off new. So I know when they were changed. He starts in, oh, you can't use these. You can't use these pellets. You can't use this. You can't do that. Next thing you know, $370 later, I'm signed to a service contract. The guy's coming twice a year to do this.
Man, you're that guy. I'm
that guy. I'm that guy. And I'm looking at him.
Yeah, no. Next thing you know, your whole apartment's gonna be solar powered. It's gonna all the fucking things are on top of your roof.
Oh, he totally did this. He's like, "What'd you buy? Like 8 bags?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, those are 40-pound bags." I said, "All right." He goes, "Well, our bags are the same price, but they're 50-pound bags, and we deliver them and walk them up the steps." Now there I am with my bad ankle going, all right, I'm a fat bastard. Let these guys lug them up. He goes, then you might need them for about 10 months, depending on your shower habits. I'm like, well, when I live alone, sometimes you don't shower for 5 days if you don't have to. I'm convinced if there's no women involved in your life, I wouldn't shower. I'd look like Tom Hanks in Castaway if I if I didn't have, nobody comes here. And you can't smell through the video here. But no, he was going, I got totally sold, crap all over the place. He was telling me the good water is good for the pipes. But then he says, listen, I got to tell you something. With the soft water, you can't use as much shampoo because people with the soft water think they can't get the shampoo out of their hair, which I've never. The salt's being delivered tomorrow. I'll let you know next week.
I was gonna say
you can only use a dabble of shampoo, works just as well. So he looks at me, he's like, just think of the money you'll save on shampoo. I'm like, I got a bottle of Pert on the wall right now. It's $1.49. It's like 70 ounces. That lasts me about 3 years.
VO5 getting involved.
Alberto VO5 getting involved. I'm like, what are you talking about saving on shampoo?
That's hilarious.
Is that another thing? Like,
so you're living up to to the actual directions on the back of the shampoo bottle. Like put a quarter size in your palm.
He said a dime. Guy, wow,
that's even less.
The new segment on my show next week is going to be Jimmy Showers, and we're going to have a full shampoo report about anyway, it's just the whole thing is anyway. So then I order a sink from my buddy who works for a place. Housewarming gift, because my sink, the sink I bought it, which is lousy, has to be replaced. It gets delivered. My plumber comes. He goes to install it. There's a huge dent in the sink. Call my buddies. It's dented. He goes, go pick up another one. I drive a half hour, pick it up. I look inside because that's where the dent was. Look good. There was a cardboard around the edges. The guy comes, plumber comes, opens up that sink. There's dents in that sink. The old shitty sink is still there. And believe me, it is the 7th inning. That sink has 161 pitches, scattering 5 hits. Every time we look at the bullpen, there's absolutely no sink coming out of the bullpen. My buddy won't even return my calls. I can't say his name until I talk to him. We're going to have fun with this. So the housewarming gift is cold. It's house colding gift at this point. I still have my shitty sink. And then I got my new neighbors. I inherited from my daughter. I do for the kids. I inherited 2 grandparents next door. They're in their late 70s. Nice. They're from Ireland. He's a handyman. He's like, hey, what can I do for you, lad? Let me see what you got. Oh, I remember the old people. Let me see that fan. He's coming in with the thing. He's checking outlets out for me. He's leaving me tools. You see that? See my little area right there, the storage area. You use it anytime you want. The door's always open. I don't lock it. Anybody wants to use my tools. And then the mothers invite me over for scotch and sodas during the day. She goes, you come over, we'll have a drink. And we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. I want to hear about your life. I'll tell you about ours. I'm like, So my daughter hasn't met them yet. I can't wait. They're from Ireland. So is my great-grandmother. So I think it's hysterical. I have new Irish neighbors. And that's it. And I'm still dealing with my Nazi HOA lady. I'm convinced there's no, I'm going to do a documentary 30 on 30 on homeowners association directors, and the lady in that little shitty office next to the pool. She won't let me go in the pool because she says, on my system, you don't live here yet. I'm like, really? I have keys. So I'm still struggling. I'm like, she said, maybe in a couple months. I said, hang on, a couple months? Doesn't the pool close Labor Day? That's like saying Aaron Judge will be ready to go on December 8th. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? I need him now. So that made me crazy. Which brings us to OxyMagicUSA.com. Carpet cleaning, getting involved. Let me tell you, Oxy Magic USA. Go to Oxy Magic USA. That's OXY here at Shea. Tom and Natalie DeMeo will take care of you. Call them up. They're not your traditional carpet place. Oh, no. They don't drag hoses through the house. That's right. Drying time is 1 to 2 hours. They got the green seal. The EPA's involved. Safer choice. The place doesn't smell like shit. They are the, that weird, all the shit, your carpet comes out into the air when you do some of these things. They have 80 locations nationwide. Oxy Magic USA, they're offering now 0% company financing if you want to open up. Matter of fact, me and Dave talked about it last week. We might be opening up a carpet place, depending on how our podcasts do. And cut to 2 years, we're going to be live. Maybe that's the new way to do it. We'll open
Just
up
put a mic on ourselves while we're
and
cleaning.
me and you will do the carpets while we're live doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to some shitty carpet house here.
Look at this stain, huh, Jimmy? Jimmy, this is a tough one today. Like this stain looks like it's been weathered and aged.
And we'll do full color. Like, look at the stain here. Not sure if it was olive oil or a brutal kids family project that went south here. Not so sure. We're gonna do play. You know what? Maybe that's my career. You'll do the general announcing, like welcome to, you'll do your world wrestling stuff with the big loud voice.
Okay.
And I'll do the subtleties of, I'll just follow a guy around while he's doing carpets and say like, check it out, going around the edge there. Ooh, check it out. He banged the wall. That's going to hurt right there. Don't tell the homeowner.
He's 2 for 3. He's 2 for 3 from the spray line. It's like...
The spray is going all over the place and he wants to talk it over. But no, they're great. My guy Brian came to the house. He totally took care of me, cleaned all the carpets in my daughter's room because that's the only room they didn't have new carpets. And they were great. And Tom and Natalie are wonderful. Oxy Magic USA. If you want to start your own business, give them a call. They'll help you out with that too. They're all over the place. They really do a good job. Tom knows I like to kid around. And that will lead me to another serious conversation. And this has to do with maybe Tom and Natalie of Oxy Magic. I was kind of told in no uncertain terms that I'm not that good in pickleball. Okay. That I was overrating myself. Okay. So on Sunday, it was raining. I played pickleball with this foursome. Now
in the rain?
Yeah, outside, indoor pickleball. Okay. So they were just like, we're just playing pickleball for a couple hours, right? But they didn't realize that Jordan, after a playoff loss, is entering the arena. Okay. I was like, how dare someone say I'm better than everyone? I'm the best player in the court right now. Dude, it was total dumb. We kept on rotating. Palumbo wins 11-2. Palumbo wins 11-5. Palumbo total dumb. I won with the women. I won with the guys. I won with the old lady. It was just win after win after win, to the point where they were like, wow, Jimmy, you're really on today. I'm like, no, I was just challenged. I cared today. Normally I'm having fun. I didn't have fun at all. It's not fun completely destroying your will at pickleball. I completely dominated. My heel felt fine. And I left there. It was like, I got to go. See you guys. Left them in a cloud of shit as I totally dominate. So to Tom and Natalie DeMeo of Oxy Magic USA, you guys are the best players. I'm coming for you. They want nothing. Their coaching staff is looking at the monitor going, who are we drawing in the first round? We do not want Jimmy Palumbo on Thursday, the noon game on CBS in the first round of the tournament. That's
Jim
not
Nance
the game
on the call.
Jim, right there. You do not. Or Jimmy Palumbo on the back. You want to hear Jimmy Palumbo on the back nine. You hear that roar as he sings. By the way, switch subjects. Nobody watched this. Why I was watching it, I think the remote, you ever see when the remote falls down the edge of the couch and it's just too far away? So whatever's on, you're like, okay, I'm not moving. I'll deal with it, right? I was watching the Scottish Open. Okay.
A lot of popularity around that. Yeah.
The Scottish Open, which I don't mind golf on TV.
Your neighbor next door was really involved.
Okay. He was clapping. I think what Roar, the guy who took the lead was finished. and McIlroy still had 2 holes to go. And supposedly the 18th hole is like a brutal hole. Like nobody parred it, all that, right? So this guy sinks a huge monster birdie putt on the 18th to go up by 2, and McIlroy had go up by 1 with 2 holes to go. And McIlroy just very casually hits a bomb off the tee, boom, birdies the 17th, ties it. Everybody's like, well, it's been a very difficult hole here. You should play for the tie. And they were like, the other guy, McIntyre, will start warming up, getting ready for the playoff round. And McIlroy's like, no, I'm going to sink a 15-footer to end this. I thought it was one of the greatest golf. Like when you birdie 2 holes to win a match on Sunday, I don't care if you're playing in the Chop Sports Open down in Mattawan. That is impressive. Okay. In a sport I could care less about. So I digress on that, but I don't know if that's a sporting event no one watched, which I think this will bring us to a very sad note. The New York Yankees. I still watch the games. They're always on in the background, but what's awful? Look at his Z. See that? You mock Sam Grasso.
Talking about that came in when you were talking about golf. So.
Yeah, but you know what, Sam? You know what happened? You just uppercutted me, but I dodged to the right. You're so exposed right now. Working the jam. Judge Ramirez, 116, 113, Palumbo. Judge Montgomery. Anyway, got a very sad note here. The New York Yankees. Last night's game, first of all, Ohtani, why every team, if I was Ohtani's agent, I'd be like, yeah, we're just going to make, what is Judge making? Oh, that's such a nice little amount. That amount's adorable. I think he deserves $70 million a year. He pitches, he hits, he does this, he's fast.
Judge's home run record might only last a year.
It's unbelievable. This guy,
he's on pace. Right? He's on the same pace.
And the Angels stink. I think the Angels could totally change their franchise if they sell him, where like even me and you have to do our podcast from Anaheim after this. Like they should get draft picks. They should get players, draft picks, closers, everything. Unless they get a handshake saying, listen, we're going to give you $1 billion. But anyway, the worst part about it is the Yankees, it was 4-1. Okay. In the 5th inning, 4-1. Okay. Baseball game. I felt like it was 12-2. I was like 4-1. They're not scoring 3 runs.
2 hits.
Yeah. 2 hits. Like my boy Stanton, he's batting on 199. I mean, some of the stats. First of all, they're 9 games out. Okay.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay,
they're only 4 games above 500 now.
And Tampa Bay hasn't won a game in a month, and the Yankees are still 9 games out.
I know, because the fucking Rangers are kicking the shit out of people, which is fun team to watch. But
2.5 games out of the wild card, and 2.5. Once you get to 4 games out, me, it's 2 months before you get anywhere.
Jimmy, they're in last place in the AL.
Last place in the what's
last
the best
place.
division?
I don't think I remember a time as a Yankee fan in my life to ever see them in last.
Awful. Now, I made a comment that Rizzo will bat under 225, and when he was batting 300 and 295, you said to me, "Oh, Jimmy, that means he would have to bat like 040." And I'm like, Rizzo's now at 247, which is very much in striking distance to 225. Volpe, everybody's favorite player, 209. He's running around. He's fast. You know what? He runs hard when he hits those ground balls for outs. He runs hard to the bag, but 209 is 209. LeMahieu doesn't LeMahieu make like $20 million a year, $18 million a year, something like that?
Yeah, they re-upped him not too long ago.
He's batting 231. And then you got like
they traded. I mean, they brought in Sean Casey to maybe try to help fix the hitting. It just not happening, man. It's just like it's one of those things where it's like when it's not your year, it's not.
And you know what the Yankees got to start looking for now in the draft. They don't have a catcher. This Trevino Higgy thing. I mean, 224 and 210. I'm sorry. You got to get a little more juice out of the catching spot. Our best players right now are Cabrera, Gleyber Torres, and IKF. They're all having, at least they're batting like over 250.
And those guys are all like recipients of the most hatred in the offseason. Got to get rid of these guys. Got to get rid of IKF. He sucks.
And Garrett Cole's our only really consistent starter. Everybody else stinks. The bullpen bullpen, I guess, is doing well, but I'm sure now
not
that's
anymore.
not anymore.
They used to lead the league, and now it's just everything's just imploding, man. It sucks.
They got this guy Randy Vasquez closing now. He's been doing well. His ERA is low, but who's Randy Vasquez? Randy Vasquez sounds like one of those bad welterweight fights when you're watching a heavyweight fight.
He sounds like a Ricky Leday.
Yeah, exactly right. I think he's Ricky Leday's cousin.
Probably.
Anyway, the next thing, the Giants, Saquon Barkley. I'm sure you have thoughts on this. My thoughts are the guy on the couch. Hey, Saquon, you're guaranteed $10 million, but in an offer, maybe you were guaranteed 15 or 16. Like, what are you doing?
They never offered him that. That's what he wanted.
Well, when they had to offer a higher guarantee than 10, because that's what you get.
I think it got to maybe. I think it got to maybe. If I had to guess, maybe 12.
Okay.
They did not. And look, you're going to find out quick. Giants fans better be on a high alert, because without Barkley in that offense, Daniel Jones is going to be exposed as
I don't agree.
Is.
I don't agree. I'll tell you why. If I was Barkley's agent, I'd say, can I talk to you for a second? Listen, just want to let you know, like 2 years ago, 3 starting running backs played for Rutgers, undrafted. No one knew who they were. When you turn the games on, they were running the Gus Edwards, Pacheco, and the other guy's name I can't think of. So if you don't think you can replace, but wait a minute, wasn't there a really big star running back on the Cowboys? And some guy Pollard came out of nowhere.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Ezekiel Elliott almost ruined everything for running backs when he got paid what he got paid, because now people are realizing that, yes, you can get the Pachecos in the 7th round, and that guy will run his balls off.
The easiest position to place in the NFL is running back.
It's not
by far.
It's not the easiest place to play. It's just that it's
it's the easiest to replace.
Oh, to replace. Yeah.
If you're running, 100%. if you're running back, he runs left side. Oh, his ankle is off. It flew into the stands. Out of the guy who comes in, it doesn't upset your game. It just doesn't. A tight end getting hurt is worse. Offensive lineman getting hurt is worse. Forget about the secondary. Forget about obviously quarterback position. Which, by the way, we'll get to that quarterback show in a second. Anyway, I just think Barkley is making a mistake. He'd be a hero, sign a contract, get this done. And if the Giants are playing hardball, it's just he's a replaceable player, even though I love him. And he's a good player, but at that position, this should not be going on. It pisses me off. But also, the mail system in the United States. I made a comment a couple weeks ago that when you go down to the post office, okay, Dave, next time you move, when your wife kicks you out for losing the cat again, I should say when your kids kick you out of the house for losing their cat, you go to the post office and you say, I'm moving, your mail immediately does not come to the location you say stop it. Like within 8, they literally, like some guy runs on a moped, grabs the postman by the shoulder and says, don't deliver Palumbo's mail to that house. So I just assumed, it'll go right to the new place. No, my mail is somewhere in the system. It's probably down in Atlanta. It's
in the cloud.
Omni. So every
it's
area.
in Atlantic City at the
listen, my job here is to educate you people. Okay. My mail, every area has like a distribution center of a mail place. Like it's not, you have your local Matawan, your Mawa post office, but there's like another area where it's like a distribution area, and they have a little office there where the hours are less, but you go there if you have stop mail, you go on vacation. It's like one of those things. Well, I went down there, say, it's been 3.5 weeks. Where is my mail floating around in the oblivion of, bad enough I got reverse osmosis water here, Shane. Where's my mail? Where's the reverse osmosis mail coming in? I went in, but these distribution centers are not, sometimes the post office people a little cheery sometimes, or a little anal about, you want stamps, you want this. Well, the distribution centers have the people that can't be seen by the American public. This guy had dirty red, like Nike sweats on, okay, sneakers with no socks, and like a tank top shirt that said it had a Twix bar on the shirt. It was stained like he was changing his oil in the back. And everybody, when you go up to the counter, all they want is their mail. There's no, you don't buy stamps there. There's no fun day. You don't buy boxes. There's no bubble wrap available. There's no let me get a Martin Luther King stamp or, a Derek Jeter stamp. You walk in there and here's my address, give my mail. the way the attitude, it's almost like the reluctant. You know what? I should probably have him co-host my show next week. The complete reluctance. This guy was like, I don't want to give you your mail. I work for the post office. He slams the boxes down and goes. The one guy was like, it's not my mail, and the guy goes, yes, it is. Like when you look into a box and say it's not my mail. Usually it means instead of Dave Sturchio, it'll say like John Smith. You say, I'm sorry, this is not my mail. Okay. He's like, yes, it is. like, where's the timeout? Where's the Pat Riley timeout walking down the bench? And I was like, this is just, it is the DMV of life. It's like, you know what? When I become a judge and someone does like a kind of minor offense, I'm like, okay, two choices. You got to work a week at the distribution center of the post office, you got to work at the DMV, or do 30 days in county. Your call. Tell me what you want to do. I think people are like, I'm going to county. I'm not going to that post office. Anyway, my sister insists on me using a toaster oven and not my oven. And now she's burning the kitchen down with this little toaster oven, which looks, I call it the Brett Gardner of toaster ovens. I don't understand this little thing. It's a half air fryer, half toaster oven. It takes you an hour to make toast. I have a toaster that was $17 at Walgreens. You put the toaster in, you hit it down, boom, it comes out like, God bless America. And I don't, but she loves this toaster oven. So I insisted on keeping it. So my house now smells like burnt Legos. Okay. Lego, my ego here. Waffle day at the stadium. That's it for our show.
I actually have one question. I have a question for you, and it's in regards to the actors and writers strike. I'm curious to know your thoughts, only because, and you don't have to like speak in detail.
I'll be quick. But
like what I've seen from it is that these guys or the actors and the actresses are worried about AI taking over the world and being like, I can have like a hologram Jimmy Palumbo star in the next movie instead of Jimmy. Like, do you buy into that shit?
No, that's a bulletin point, but way down the bottom. The biggest thing is earnings per day when you work, for the actors like me who just, if you could only get paid scale for a gig, that kind of thing, how much the producers put into pension and health to help with our health benefits and pension, which I collect a pension now. And also it's residuals. You got to understand these companies like Netflix and Paramount and Disney Plus, they don't have to reveal their numbers to residuals. The residual thing is all out of whack. There's also, the AI thing is for things like they can now shoot extras, right? And then digitize them, and then they don't need extras and background actors. Everything can be digitized now. So that's more the AI. There's some books. It has to be something to be discussed. But the big thing is money, man. These big companies, they own everything. There's like only five big companies, and streaming changed the game. It's better for the consumer because you get to watch stuff from your couch. But the people that created those shows, for instance, if you get a guy who created a show like Breaking Bad right now, and it went to streaming, that's a generational show. That is a Staubach, a Tom Brady. He needs to get paid from that because people are going to watch it. And now they don't. They don't get. If you watch our product, the actors should be compensated.
So for example, just so I'm clear,
the writers' room has to do with how many writers are on the set and in the back room. There's all kinds of. It's always all about money. That's really all it is. But I don't know the intricate details. I just think strikes stink. I went through one commercial strike.
This seems to be a big one. This seems to be like, yeah. So
they're saying it may go to December, which means I can't audition for any TV or film right now. I could do radio spots. I could do commercials, but I can't do any TV or film. And that's I just worked on that show. I said Daredevil. The Daredevil's new season coming out on Disney Plus. Got a really cool part in that. Thank God that happened 2 months ago. I know friends of mine were ready to work. They were going to like England to shoot a film, big film, all delayed. So, but these companies have stockpiled product. And so now during the strike, but what about when that runs out? So listen, the writers write and the actors act. You cannot, entertainment is taking a beating right now. And it's a little bit of a, we got to make sure we get the right contract that's fair to everybody, and stuff like that. It's very complicated, and any actor who says they know what they're talking about 9 times out of 10 doesn't, including myself. I just know kind of how it affects me. I cannot audition now, and I need to put food on the table. But like for someone like Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks, I don't even want to hear their opinion. I don't want to hear about it. It's the middle class. You know what? It's like anything else, man. Listen, you're a middle class guy. You know, the rich people, you know, when something happens and their $1 million home is only worth 800,000. And if you have a house that's worth 350,000, it drops to 80 grand, you got a bigger problem. So it's that middle class of the United States that's getting hurt by these things. But I wish I knew more about it. So I'm going to shut up there. But I was just curious. It's a big deal. I wish maybe I'll have somebody, you know, I may have my buddy Jeff Cantor come on. He's well-versed in this. But I know the actors want to get back to work. I think the producer, you know, you got to remember though, this affects a lot of people, agencies, managers, the guy who who does the food, Teamsters. This affects like millions and millions of people, not just the jerk off actors like me. What about all the florists in LA outside the studios, electricians that have to come in and fix? I mean, it's an industry shut down. I mean, it affects, it's like if a baseball strike goes on, all the vendors, all the people that work in the offices, it's a big deal. It would be like if Wi-Fi was shut down. What would the Dave Sturchio show and Jimmy Palumbo show do?
Not
record. You know what I mean? I think right now, what would be great if the Yankees went on strike, then I wouldn't have to watch it the rest of the year.
I think they actually already have. I think they have already.
I will come up with a better answer next week about the strike.
Sure.
So I could kind of answer your question better. Bottom line is I can't do shit. That's the way to end the show. Jimmy's
quotes from the other day. Can't do shit.
That's it. Shout out to Sam Grasso with his comments, and Troy Chabaro getting involved here. And who else was on this thing? It's probably only 2 people. Yeah, you're right. Only 2 people were texting. Bob Sheehan, and of course, Dying Breed Garage, Will Pena, Patreon. All right, man. Have fun with your cat. Hope you. I'm sure you got to run to the bathroom right now. And maybe wait, we're gonna have a special guest next week. Special guest, ladies and gentlemen, back from the 11th injury of his career, Chris Gucci. He's gonna come in for a couple of minutes just to let people know he's okay, and maybe we'll have a whole fun. Maybe we'll have Chris come in just to do the baseball card bit. Then he can leave. We'll do something like that.
And then you bring in the righty, and here I come out of the bullpen.
We got to have at least make sure he's alive. We got to come in and make sure he's okay.
I can hear his voice out here. I can hear him.
Yeah, no, but you know what it is? I'll give him the start next week, and then I'll start hearing about kidney stones, my ankle, my girlfriend. I got this, and baseball card packaging.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Good night, everybody.
I'll see you. I forget how to shut this thing off.